Hey, everybody on YouTube. How y'all doing tonight? Guess what? We're kicking off a brand new week of Spaced Out Radio tonight. You are here. I am here. And I'll tell you, I cannot wait.
Cardio burns
for
fat,
tonight.
right?
Let me just mute this here because we don't need that guy telling me the cardio burns fat. And that's kind of embarrassing because I'm a little chunky. Here, down here, the legs are still good. The legs are still good. Let's give a shout out to everybody here in our chat room so far. Hi, Jack Clark. Good to have you back. Hi, gorgeous Kimberly. The stunning Renee. How are you? Brett Lewis is here, everyone, which means we can officially start the show. How you doing, gorgeous Becky Belling? The Ronald Penton is here, everyone. Harry Balls. Good to have you here. You might need a shave, buddy. Brad Smith, always a pleasure to have you here. Hi, gorgeous Jules. Bee's Nest, always a pleasure. The gorgeous and talented Steph Dickey from Florida is here, everyone. Give her a round of applause. Hi, little Deborah. Good to see you. Nomad, always a pleasure. Jim Morris, good to have you here. Agravane, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. I don't know why she likes it 3 times, but apparently she does. Tina, good to see you here, you beautiful doll. How are you? Thank you for coming on in. Cat Chaser, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Tammy Jackson's here, everyone. You look stunning tonight, Tammy Jackson. Just stunning. Fast Hemi, good to have you here. Hi, Pharmacy, thanks for coming on in. Chrismo, good to see you here. Spudgy, good to have you here this morning. Your hair looks great. Human Carl's here, everyone. Human Carl, not to be confused with Alien Carl or Demon Hunter Carl. Human Carl, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show on a daily basis. Thank you for your service, Carl. We love you around here. Who else do we have here? Princess Denali is here. Thank you for coming on in. The official princess of Spaced Out Radio. Boom to Bama. How you doing, brother? Great Lakes, good to have you here. Appreciate that. Hello, Nilbog. Good to have you back. Virgil, always a pleasure when you're here, my friend. The gorgeous and talented Marie, you are looking beautiful tonight. Hey, Desert Clam, thanks for coming on in. Hillary, good to see you. Appreciate you. Candy Romero from Las Vegas, everyone. My home away from home. I am jealous you are there, and I am in Canada, Candy. Thank you for joining us in our chat room for the first time. Eugene, I love you, my brother. Thank you. I love you. You know that, and I appreciate you. Super Friends, welcome to our chat room for the first time. Thank you for coming on in. Block Chick Breed, you are looking stunning and talented tonight. You should have a pen in your hand and draw it on out. I don't know why, but it just felt normal to say that. Worsley, always a pleasure to have you, my friend. Here, my friend. Thank you for coming on in. Alan, I think I said you. Yes, I did. I do believe I did. Let's see. Who else? Hey, Barther L. and the Third Nipple crew are here, everyone. Good to have you here. Nate Foot and Corey Foot, good to have you here. Ladybug Bigelow, all the way in Alaska. She is Alaska's greatest athlete. Ladybug Bigelow. There she is. Thank you for coming on in. Visit thenewbravenewnormal.com. Welcome to our channel for the first time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like what you hear. Thurston Howell III is back. Where is Lovey tonight? Let us know how she's doing. Lord of Land, thank you for coming on in. I think I'm done. I'm out of breath, buddy. I'm out of breath. That took a lot. I got to reposition my camera here a little bit. You talk. You talk. I've talked enough already.
That's a lot of love you got there already, and all those listeners and repeat. I guess you could call them stalkers, perhaps.
They're way too good for that. They keep me on my toes.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Dave. It's nice to know that you can, with radio, you can, like you were saying before we went on the air, kick off your shoes, relax a little bit. You're at home. It's really kind of perfect for this season we're in.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Now we got the new camera angle. I had to lower it a little bit so that way I, didn't look like my chin was being cut off. I don't know which chin it was, but I don't know what it is. Oh, Brave New Normal. You're from Victoria. Welcome. I got tattooed in Victoria a number of years ago. Hey, Mark Salzman. Pleasure to have you here. Fapster. Always a pleasure. John. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you. Let's see here. All right, guys, we only got just a couple of minutes left here. Actually, a couple seconds, maybe about 45 seconds. I want to remind you that a great way to support what we do on this show is we have the Super Chat available. If you're brand new, do us a favor. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, and do a little shopping on our website at the SOR Vault. We're going to have new swag coming up here very soon. We are up in 30 seconds here, everyone, and we're going to kick off a brand new week. Thank you, Barther. All right. Let's see here. Hey, Vector Scalar over in the UK. Good morning to you, my friend. Always a pleasure when you're here. Always a pleasure. Yes, you realize, Ladybug, that you are officially titled as Alaska's greatest athlete now. So every time you come in, I will say that. 3 seconds, everyone. Let's have a good show tonight. Here we go. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Buddy Bolton is one of the leading psychic researchers that's been tested by credible researchers and scientists alike. He's a part of a new breed of investigators that not only knows the literature, but is also a practitioner of the art. He's able to display his skill live on video for his YouTube followers on his Alien Protocols channel, but he is often on the front lines of research. UFOs, telekinesis, remote viewing, clairvoyance, venturing out to local hotspots and collaborating with scientists. Very few are on the cutting edge of this field like Buddy is, and guess what? He is here tonight, and I am so excited about this because, you know, there are certain people in this world who have an amazing story. He is one of them, and we're going to learn about it. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Buddy, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to chat about these subjects that people just don't get to hear enough frank discussion about.
You have an amazing story. I mean, you have literally run the gamut from being very well off, being someone who is a very proud farmer, to going right to being homeless. And now all of these scientists and researchers and agencies are trying to get to know you over the last number of years, trying to figure out how the heck you do it. Tell us your story.
Well, I think, like all of us, I knew that I had a good sense of intuition. From a young age, I knew about prophetic dreams, and my mom was very gifted, I believe, and she told me to always trust my intuition, and that, you know, if I had an interesting dream where I vividly remembered something, she'd want me to recount it, and, you know, would say the dreams can tell the future. And so I've always grown up in an environment where it was acceptable to have, you know, discussions about esoteric subjects like that. And I knew as I grew older that I could utilize them. And, you know, it's like any of your other senses. It's not perfect. It's not flawless, you know, but you on occasion would just have these incredible experiences. And it just has made life so much richer for me. And so I've always done that stuff and been very concerned in that. I saw my first UFO sighting when I was like 7 years old. So I've always had really interesting kind of, you know, experiences. And then I just continued what, you know, one of my gifts was in life, and that's comedy. I've done a lot of stand-up comedy, and I've been in, you know, different movie parts. Almost everything I do is comedy. You know, I was on the Conan O'Brien show, and one of the few white Def Comedy Jam winners. And so I did a lot of stand-up comedy in New York especially. And it came to a point where I got a farm upstate. I had done a few creative director jobs and saved up some money, and I got this old, rickety farm that had big piles of garbage on it everywhere. And I cleaned up the garbage and fixed up everything and planted fruit trees and berry trees. And basically I turned it into like the cover of a Jehovah's Witness magazine. It became just so fruitful with life and animals. It was just, ridiculous. And then I started having some experiences there where I saw some orbs of light back in the woods. And then over time, I saw some get closer. And then I saw one bounce down. There's an opening to a pathway that goes back into the 8 acres. And it bounced down that trail. And then I said, oh, my gosh, I got to do more and investigate more, and decided to have a CE5 group up there. We had a lot of success. And over time, I've kind of I've done both explorations, because I believe in my, epistemology of this subject, that it all relates to one thing: the UFOs, the phenomenal locations, ESP. All of these have one unifying factor, and that's consciousness and the power of consciousness.
Right.
I've even worked with some of the top, scientists on this stuff, and it's just ridiculous. It's stunning. There is something there. There is a field. There is some sort of substructure that allows you to get information from across space and time, and it's absolutely staggering. And other practitioners, from Ingo Swann to many others, have been able to prove in a laboratory their ability to affect a wide variety of scientific equipment, from calorimeters to random number generators. I've done a lot of work with a bunch of different machines, and I've consistently been able to show an effect, but it's not like it's uniquely me with this ability to do so. They've had tests for 150 years on dice, the human mind's ability to affect the roll of dice. And even in the worst studies, they have a small percentage of, there's something weird going on. So whether you just believe it's a small percentage, or whether you believe it's something that is a small percentage but can be trained to a much higher level, it's up to you. But to deny the reality of the powers of consciousness, it just seems ludicrous at this point.
And we're going to touch a lot on consciousness and how it affects absolutely everything here with you tonight. For a long time, you were known as Psychic X. Why did you try and keep a low profile at that point?
I was doing some interesting work and experiments, and I guess you wouldn't necessarily call them jobs, but help with different groups. And in one of the groups, they were naming the different people because you have a code name, so they don't always have your name on the sheet, just for a little bit of anonymity's sake, depending who gets these readout sheets. And so they're saying that this person was going to be Psychic A, and I was like, oh, I want to be Psychic X. So I got to be Psychic X, working for this group that I've worked for a couple times. And so that's how I got that moniker. And I've been lucky enough to continue to work with, a wide variety of groups, with the head scientists there at the Skinwalker for 2 years with Eric Bard. I've had just extraordinary experiences, and I've been very blessed. I forgot what the question was.
No, but I think you answered it fine, buddy. Why you though? What led everybody to come your way and to really try and gain the knowledge that is in your brain?
I think because I had a goal really early on of wanting to educate the public, and I knew the only way that I could do that is if I could be repeatable in front of, scientists, under scrutiny, under laboratory conditions, on camera, for reporters, for, all these different people I've been able to do stuff for. I needed to have repeatability. And once I got to a point where I felt confident that I could, then I realized I could be helpful. Ingo Swann had a choice. He could have gone the more entertainment route to make money like Uri Geller did, but instead he very much wanted to further the research. He hunted down the scientists, like I have some, and said, here, let's try this, let's do that. And he was able to prove, if you do just a little research into Ingo, so many different things that the mind has the ability to do. And it's indicative that there is something new on the horizon. Phenomena is almost always, throughout history, the first indication of a new science. So a lot of these people that I'm working with, and especially, strangely enough, aerospace companies, are very interested in this stuff, because I think they realize it represents a field. And this field, if it exists, if a field exists where I can reach across space and time and even not only see things and hear things, but touch them somehow, then that ability, that field, if it exists, it would mandate that if an advanced civilization ever visited us, they would use that field as well. And you can see from the modern UFO cases, the very best ones, they have a lot of incidents of consciousness phenomena. And in fact, there's something called the Chris Mellon leak. And that is from Luis Elizondo and the ATIP organization for the Department of Defense. ATIP was the Advanced Aerial Threat Identification Program. That ran for many years, I guess like 15 years at least. And they only took the best military UFO cases for 15 years. And at the end of that, they did conclusions about the craft specifications, and also conclusions about the United States vulnerability. And the vulnerabilities were all these consciousness abilities. We could go through case by case, and you could, I could show, but I'm sure and any listeners who really know anything about the UFO research topic know that there's a bizarre consciousness phenomena. Somehow the UFO will know where you're going to go. If you're a jet fighter, they'll know where the waypoint is, like with the Nimitz case. There's so many really cool factors to all this, and it all really comes back to consciousness.
I want to ask you, in regards to working at Skinwalker Ranch and learning about a lot of these topics that you have with UFOs, and, there's a lot of people who are trying to figure out what side of the ledger they should be on. All right. There's a lot of people, especially the experiencers out there, who don't want to believe groups like the To the Stars Academy, because they almost feel like it's a fear mongering going on with this alleged threat narrative to almost scare the mainstream public into trying to, realize that this is something that we should be fearful about. How do we believe as a general public the news that we are getting, or the news that we are supposed to follow?
Well, that's a complex question, but I think, to go back to the Stars for a second, that it's even more cynical than that, than just, claiming that all, advanced craft that are visiting us are a threat. I think it's more cynical than that. I think it's the best strategy to garner money. And I think that's really ultimately what it's about. If you look at UFO history, there's, a great case study called Beyond UFOs. It's a great big book that came out with a bunch of scientists doing different chapters, and it's just incredible. 90% of these cases, 95% of these cases, the people involved have had positive experiences or healings or some kind of, positive improvement in their life. And there's so many cases where they were threatened by us, where our ammunitions were locked onto them. And instead of attacking us or destroying us or shooting us out of the sky, they merely shut off our weapon systems. And this is true with the famous Peru case, or General Jafari out of Iran, I believe it was his name. And he had the same exact experience. And that experience happens time and time again, where they seem to turn off the weapon systems and kind of turn the other cheek rather than retaliate. So I don't know who's peaceful and who's not. It's kind of like saying, you discover a silverback gorilla in the rainforest, and you say, it's too dangerous, it's a threat, it's stronger than me. Maybe we would be better served by communicating with them rather than trying to label them a threat. And maybe if that was an agenda, like we should communicate with this advanced civilization, the opportunities, that's a more viable angle, I think. But that's an angle that they have soundly chosen as a strategy.
You seem to believe very firmly that there is something more to this phenomena than being a threat. That's what I took out of this, and that we need to open up our eyes and ears, and that it is all about money. And you're one of the very few people who have actually come out and said that. Have you ever talked to anybody at the TTSA about that?
No, I don't talk with any of them, and I don't really work with that group. I think you kind of nailed it. You know, when you, out of all the things you could have said about them, you honed in on that threat aspect, and I think it's such an important point. There are some inside stories where there has been supposedly, violent events, but it's obvious that, we have been more violent towards them, and they have shown benevolence, in fact, by not shooting us down. There's a famous case, the Henderson case, I think it was 1952, and there was a helicopter, and the helicopter pilots saw the UFO really close by. It was like 75 feet or something ridiculously close like that. And the pilot dove into a super steep dive, and the UFO put like a tractor beam on it, brought it back up to the same altitude, and like leveled it off and then left. So, it thought that something bad would happen to the craft or something, or who knows what they thought. But it was a benevolent move, it seemed like. So, I don't know. I would hope behind the scenes, despite all this talk of threats, there's a greater effort to communicate than to shoot them down and, recover the parts.
Do you believe we already have the technology from them wherever they may have got it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And other countries do as well. I'm, way beyond 100% certain on that for multiple different reasons. So that's, in my mind, not a question at all. And even Luis Elizondo and others have intimated that there are parts and pieces of stuff. And TTSA has apparent stuff. And Jacques Vallée has had some very anomalous nanomaterials tested. So, I think these governments who recover this stuff hold on to it as the greatest national security secret, thinking it's in the best national defense of the country to take this, technology and try and, replicate it and, of course, weaponize it. But I think what's greater and more powerful about these artifacts is that they are indisputable proof that we are not alone for the skeptics. Some skeptics will say, no matter how great the video is, that's BS. But the parts and pieces, the craft, are indisputable evidence. When, it's much harder to dispute something you can, test and knock your hand on,
No, I agree. So where do you stand on it all? We got about 5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. But where do you stand on this entire subject? If you were in control of it, what do you want to see happen?
I would initiate a massive, education program to the public, massive research into this field or substructure that obviously is connected between ESP and some of these abilities, and your grandma's intuition, and the same phenomena that you see at phenomenal locations, from Skinwalker to UFO sites and UFO encounters. So I would like to see massive education, research, and more important than anything else in terms of putting money into the program would be to communicate, because you can learn something from a broken watch. You can learn a little bit more from a whole watch, but you can learn a lot more from talking to the watchmakers. And that's what we should try to do.
Is that communication publicly or privately? Because there are many people out there who believe those private conversations are already going on, buddy.
I know that they are, on a level. So it really, it's a lot of things are up to the, superior civilization. So, I think the government can do some disclosure, but it's a two-way street. So it's such an incredible topic and so important, and on the frontier of the minds of the top aerospace engineers to the top scientists to it's exhilarating. This whole topic really is exhilarating, and the fact that we, beyond a shadow of a doubt, are being visited is mind-boggling.
Now, you say without beyond a shadow of a doubt here. How do you know?
Well, even if I talk about stuff that's in the public domain, there are large pieces that have been tested and smaller pieces that have been tested and have proven to have isotopes that are not even, they say extrasolar, not from our solar system, and incapable of us producing because they're put down atom by atom. Some of them, as Tom DeLonge even hinted at, can act as a waveguide for certain resonances. So an incredibly low amount of energy put to this material makes it guide the energy and focus it in a very powerful way. So there's physical, tangible proof, and some of the top people have said so. So even Luis Elizondo and Eric Davis, are incredibly credible people with indisputable credentials connected to this topic, and they admit it. In fact, Luis Elizondo even said there's so much evidence, they got so much stuff just from ATIP alone, that it's become a security risk because of the amount of information. And that's all types of information, from radar tapes to logs to personal testimony to material evidence, video, all sorts of stuff. It must be warehouses full of stuff at this point.
And I agree with you. I do. I want to see more, though. I don't care if it comes out publicly the way everybody wants disclosure. I just, for my own personal sake, want to know more about it. I want to know people who have touched it. I want to know people who have, where's the next Bob Lazar or David Adair or somebody along those lines to come out and say, this is real, as we got about 90 seconds.
Well, there are scientists working in black projects and in black programs who have done many of these things. And this is a very tough subject because, first of all, it's the biggest national security secret, as you can imagine. So you have to pierce a very deep veil to get any reliable information.
Okay, so if there are these people out, how come it's been 30 years plus now since Bob Lazar came out? Why do you think no one else has come out?
I think people have tried. They've been, stopped probably before we even knew their names. I think that programs, it's a myth that we can't keep a secret. The United States can keep secrets. The military can keep great secrets. And there are multiple branches of the military and different aspects of the government that have investigations into this topic. We know for certain, like the Department of Defense was involved with Skinwalker Ranch and pumped millions of dollars into research. And time and time again, the CIA spent millions of dollars working with Hutchinson and the incredibly unusual effects he was able to create.
Very
and
true.
As many of the scientists at the end concluded, it was probably his mind, his consciousness, that helped create some of those staggering results that he had.
Well, let's get into more of this because I think we are in for a very unique and interesting night here on Spaced Out Radio. Psychic X, Buddy Bolton, talking UFOs, consciousness, communication with those from the stars, and much more here on Spaced Out Radio when we continue right after this. All right, we are clear. That's a good, solid first half hour, my friend. Solid first half hour. Fast, eh?
It moved quickly, yeah.
All right. Hey, big thank you to Human Carl for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. Thank you, Human Carl. We love you around here and love your support. Appreciate that. Hello, Spicy Pencil. You're looking a little sharp tonight. No dull lead for you. And let's see who else we got. I think we're caught up now. I think we're caught up. There we go. Oh, ouch. Oh, I have so many questions to ask you. So many. Now I gotta bite my tongue so I don't ask them during the break here. Hey, Raul, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. Thank Corrins, the booking guy, for this wonderful guest tonight. Hi, Life Dweller. Thank you for coming on by. Thank you, Brave New Normal. Appreciate you. Manitoba Becky's here, everyone. The gorgeous and talented girl from Brandon. She is a wheat king at heart. Manitoba Becky. The Michael Leger. Good to have you here. All right, there we go. And, we got a few more minutes here. A few more minutes. All right, big question coming from the chat room for you. We ask every brand new guest this. Buddy, what's your opinion of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
I think it's brilliant. I love it. I think there's nothing wrong in it, and anyone who says otherwise really must be an egg hater.
Hey, I am not an egg hater. I just don't believe eggs should be eaten for dinner. We're gonna duke this out now. We have to. All right.
I feel as
Go ahead.
I feel as an adult, I have the right to. I could eat popsicles for breakfast, something that would have made my parents very upset. But I think it's good creatively, physically, in every way to break norms like that.
I had so much respect for you coming into this interview. Then you mentioned that you eat breakfast for dinner. I don't know if I can continue on now. I'm hurt here. All right, let's see if we can win question number 2. All right, that we ask every new guest. Okay, going back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Devil's Tower there. All right. Are you on Team Stump or are you on Team Rock for Devil's Tower?
Stump or Rock?
Yeah.
Rock. Definitely Rock.
Can't win tonight. Can't win. Huh.
No, you're a stump for a giant tree.
Hey, it's a tree of life, man. Didn't you see Avatar?
I did, and I like those little fluttery butterfly things that flew around the tree. That was nice. That let us know this must be the tree of life.
1 second here. I'm showing everybody on YouTube. You can get your free piece of coaxial cable, courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. You cannot buy these in stores, people. Limit 1 per household. Once again, they are autographed by Cable Guy Matt, so make sure you hit him on up in the chat room for your free piece of coaxial cable today. Literally, Cable Guy Matt is my cable guy.
That's wonderful.
Yes. So he actually brought some cable over to my house, and he signed it all. So we like to, introduce him when he's here. One of our little quirks that we do. Hey, Raul, you're not going to like this here, buddy. Raul is saying, Team Rock and breakfast for dinner. We got to cancel the show, Dave. Got to cancel the show. I'm thinking about it, Raul.
Wow.
I'm thinking about it. Oh.
I respect him being a purist.
Oh, yes. Oh, we got.
But at least I'm not an arbitrary. At least I'm not an arbitrary brown noser. I stand by my decision.
No, we can respect that. We can respect that, even though you got this quirk about eating breakfast for dinner. But we'll forgive you. We'll forgive you, and we'll continue on here because you seem all right, buddy. You got a cute dog, and that's the way it goes.
She's the best. She's my familiar. Every wizard must have a familiar.
Absolutely.
She is mine.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Actually, I had my buddy and I went out in the forest yesterday to collect some firewood. And coming on back, he yells at me. He's like, "Dude, there's a giant moose in the forest. Hit the brakes." So I slammed on the brakes of my truck, pull over, looking through the trees trying to figure out what it is, and there's 3 wild horses standing there. And I was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, beautiful.
Oh yeah. That felt really good. I love the wild horses. Love them. Hi, Eva. How are you? All right, we got 10 seconds here. Thank you to Human Carl for the super chat. Don't forget, if you're tuning on in for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget a thumbs up for us or down, whatever you choose. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hey, I want to remind you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with one of the top psychic mediums who is connected to the science and research field of UFOs. Known formerly as Psychic X, Buddy Bolton joins us tonight, and we're going to continue on right now. Buddy, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Pleasure to be here with you. This is fun.
I'm going to hit you up right off the bat here, my friend.
Oh, boy.
Ever been on a UFO?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I wish, in fact, I was talking with a friend today that I wish I could completely awake during the day, step aboard one. That would be just a wonderful experience.
Well,
I'm waiting. They're getting closer. Some are getting closer, so maybe someday. I'm not losing hope.
Have you been taken subconsciously?
No, but I have had CE5 groups upstate at my farm in Ellenville, New York. Beautiful, very rural place between mountain ranges there. And it's actually on this mountain range called a Shawagunk, which the Indians called Smoky Mist Mountain. So we would have different CE5 experiences and see stuff in the sky. And over time, as we improved our methods, I believe, it caused these sightings to get closer and closer. And sometimes you stay out there till really late and you fall asleep, and then you wake up on another spot outside. You're like, did I get up in the middle of the night and do that, or did I have a weird dream? You know, so I think stuff that happens either before you go to sleep or right after, you have to be very skeptical of.
All right. So what is your...
Because the
Go ahead.
mind plays tricks on you. The mind plays tricks on you, so you have to be this stuff. Unfortunately, I come from a comedy background, so I can laugh at the ludicrousness of some of the stuff, but also be a skeptic. It's important to be my own skeptic.
No, and I fully agree with you that you have to, remain level-headed and as unbiased as possible with everything that is going on. But for you, having this connection to both CE5 and your own intuitive and consciousness abilities, have you ever made contact or had conversation with people from off-planet?
There was an experience that I had, several of them. And the first, it's just such an intense story, and it's I've spoken about it on my channel. I had an experience where we're next to this park called Galileo Park here in the Bronx, and it's a beautiful, wondrous, magical, special place. And it's named, of course, after the famous astronomer and physicist. And the park is a representation of the solar system. So you see Mercury, and kids can climb on Mercury or Jupiter, and there's a representation of the sun, and it's beautiful. So a group of scientists from an aerospace company had come down to do a class, and I had done a class with them for 2 days. And on the second day, I'm sitting in the truck with the owner in the back seat, and I'm in the front passenger seat with the doors open onto the sidewalk, and right next to the sidewalk there is the park. And he says, is that an alien? And I was like, oh, my God. We saw someone that we just knew. He was tiny. And, there's different types of achondroplasia, which is, what causes dwarfism. There's the one type, the straight achondroplasia, where the proportions of the body are just a little off. I think, most of you are out there have seen, different types of little people with achondroplasia where their proportions are a little off. And there's another kind where it's just kind of the right proportions. This was like super proportions. It's hard to describe, like perfect. Muscular, perfect shape. And it's a long story, and it's just a very intense incident. And if I hadn't had someone else there with me, I wouldn't even be talking about it. And this person, it was just such an amazing experience. And the things that happened, and then it happened the second day as well, too. Second day, he just came right up to me and tapped me on the hip. And, but it was just very, very intense, and something that you just kind of, I'm blessed and lucky that I did go through it with someone, because for the next 2 weeks, we're calling each other 10 times a day saying like, oh my God, what was that? And that, and that. Do you remember this? And what happened there? And do you remember, and your mind is freaking racing, with all these implications. And it was really an intense situation.
I know that feeling all too well. I know that feeling all too well in regards to that. So for you, in the fact that you believe a lot in the consciousness factor and that this all has to do with consciousness, what do you think extraterrestrials are? Because there is a faction of people out there who have looked into this, from John Alexander to Eric Davis and the team at Skinwalker Ranch that you are very close to, who believe this is something of not extraterrestrial, but ultra-terrestrial.
Well, I've worked, in fact, just for a little bit with John Alexander and some of these people that you mentioned, and I think it's a very dynamic topic. And it intertwines phenomena, the abilities of consciousness, and UFOs. And the way I like to kind of, share one of my, my main theory on it all is 200 years ago, there were a bunch of strange, weird paranormal phenomena. And people were mystified by them. They thought there was spirit energy involved. And there were things like when you walk across a carpet and touch someone, and there's a zap and electricity. If you take two different pieces of metal and put it to a dead frog's leg, a lead and copper piece of metal, the leg will jump. And there's a bunch of these other things that were considered strange, paranormal phenomena. And this guy Volta put it together as the electromagnetic field, and enunciated in math and started the rational understanding of the phenomena. And it went from being phenomena to science. And we didn't know the entire time we'd been completely immersed in the electromagnetic field. And right now, if you look around us, and even the devices we're using to communicate right now, we couldn't survive without the electromagnetic field and our understanding of it. We just recently discovered the Higgs field that we've been living in the entire time. And these different fields have different abilities. And I believe that there is a field that it's a substructure. And it has, the universe has to know itself in all aspects, physicists say, for a bunch of different reasons. I won't bother with my amateur physicist jargon. But so everything is connected in this substructure. Every place and time and space is connected. And you can not only see and get information from distances, you can even affect things at those distances. So let's say this substructure exists, okay, and psychics and phenomena has a lot to do with it. If it does exist, then you would believe that a more advanced civilization would control this field like we control the electromagnetic field. They might have a mastery of it and be able to do things that we find completely miraculous. So I think the ET phenomena is a very diverse phenomena. It's a dynamic phenomena. It's not just one thing explains all of the different types of encounters. There's a lot of things here, and you have to be really frank and research a lot to realize there's a lot of different moving parts here. And some of this stuff could be even creations of consciousness. Some of the best minds, the Vallée Davis model, Jacques Vallée and Eric Davis created a model of the universe and an explanation of this stuff that basically says it's consciousness. Consciousness is the main instigator of all of this stuff.
All right, so going back to what you just said and combining it with that alien sighting that you had in the park, was there any communication that you had or anything that kind of rang any doorbells towards the consciousness or some sort of connection?
The funny thing is, all the ET stories I've heard in the past, it's always like, telekinetic. It was verbal. It was a verbal communication. And being an intuitive, person and someone who tries to, improve those abilities, I would have been receptive to getting, different types of information, but it was strictly verbal. And, I would have hoped that I had, like a presentiment that it was going to happen, but I didn't. I didn't have any of those kind of traditional things. And even after an encounter saying, if it ever happened again, this is what I want to say. These are the questions I want to ask. And then when given that second opportunity, completely blanking on everything wanted to do. So it's a complex menagerie. I'll go into it in a little bit more detail. For example, plasma balls or orbs. They can be a lot of different things. There's a lot of ones on cameras, that frankly I believe are lint and light and how things move around a room in tiny dimensions. And people will call those orbs. There's other orbs called like the Brown Mountain lights or the Marfa lights or Hestelin. And Hestelin, they have incredible scientific research that's been going there for 20 years and have incredible video of these balls of light and energy, plasma balls. Some think they are exotic vacuum objects. Others think that they are the famed ball lightning. But they've even done such scientific experiments there to the point of doing spectrometry on these balls of light, meaning that from the light that radiates off the phenomena, it gets basically sent through a prism, and you can tell what elements are in that light. That's how we can tell a lot of things about distant stars. And they found scandium, very weird, interesting metal in this orb. So orbs can be a lot of different things. They can be a optical phenomena. They can be a moss that, if seen at the right angle with the right amount of light, is illuminated, but if you walk right up to it, nothing's there. Plus, there's tons of phenomena we don't know. So we don't have to jump right to the fact that, an orb is an interdimensional creature from, blank. Although I certainly don't, I don't exclude that possibility at all.
Buddy Bolton is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Buddy, when you look at the consciousness aspect, when you look at the aspect of everything that you have dealt with and you have learned over the years regarding your own research, your own intuition, what do you think is truly going on from the extraterrestrial standpoint? Do you believe that they are here searching us out? Have they been here for thousands of years? Or is this new phenomena that we need to learn about? And how does it affect us on the planet?
I think it's a combination of things. I think they have been investigating us for quite a long time. I think there's multiple different types associated with this quest to understand us. I think if you're an advanced civilization, you don't go around the universe looking for gold or diamonds or monatomic gold. I think the most valuable thing is data and information. Information and data is power. And I think life forms are one of the densest forms of data. In a life form, there's so many different types of data, not just the chemical and physical stuff, but, the atmosphere and the environment and the symbiotic relationships and, chemical exchanges with the atmosphere and blah, blah, blah. So I think that our biology is, although familiar to them, it's executed differently here. And it's unique. There's only one Earth. And our biosphere is special. And I think they find it special. They see what's happening. And I think they have been preserving stuff. And there's a extremely long track record of them going into and out of the Amazon, and so many cases of them with like beams scanning forests, and so that's my belief, is that they have been watching us for a long time. There's different types of groups involved. There is an ongoing group that is trying to preserve the biosphere and warn us by shutting off our nuclear weapon systems. There's a Fermi wall for a reason. We should see millions of civilizations out in the universe, or evidence, but we don't. And it's not just hearing them sending us a specific message. It's that we visually can't see them anywhere in the universe, or evidence that we would expect they might leave behind. So that's kind of haunting. And the fact that they seem to be accumulating this biosphere data faster and faster, and UFO encounters seem to have more and more fleets lately. And there's an incredible amount of activity in South America. Seems to, it may indicate that things are ramping up.
Okay, so as we start to progress into hour 2 here in a few minutes, where we're going to talk a lot about the consciousness and the mind, with that being said, and what you just stated, do you believe then that there is some sort of communication going on between hidden sectors of, let's say, the United States government and these alien species, where there's a lot of people out there who believe there's like a strata council almost that kind of tells which aliens can come to Earth and which ones can't? And do you believe all of that, or is that just full on woo?
I think there's no group in the government, I think, that's having regular conversations with them. In my opinion, I may be completely wrong, but in my opinion and everything that I've come to learn, I think that they seek out specific people for specific reasons. Maybe I think they, I think it might be foolish to think that we have to speak to them in prime numbers or something. If they're more advanced, they know all of our languages, they know everything. It's just I forgot where I was going, but this reality that we are being studied by this advanced civilization should be a warning to us that something is going on. Something major is going on. They're very, very, very interested in us and in our nuclear weapons. And they're making their presence known to individuals. They don't land on Washington, D.C., despite the 1952 Washington flyover, where they literally flew over the Capitol. But they have repeatedly, time and time again, you can judge people by their actions, or things by their actions. They go to our nuclear weapons sites. Malmstrom just had another incident last January that Senator Harry Reid kind of slipped and spilled the story in New York Magazine. And that is a location that has been messed with numerous times. And several of the nuclear silos have been, where they turn off, craft will be seen above a nuclear launch site, and these craft will shut off the missile systems. And it's an obvious hint. And this has happened all over the world with different, navies and governments. And so I think they are communicating. I think they realize that it's a very explosive thing to reveal. It could be a dramatic society transforming, world transforming event for them to do that. And I think they take a responsibility, to preserve us at a certain level. And it must be an internal debate with them, like we want to preserve animals kind of in a pristine way in zoos. We want to give them a nice habitat, and we don't want them, to feel so integrated with humanity. We want to make it feel like they're kind of separate and alone, and we don't want them to get, habituated to humans. And, you could see how a greater species than us might do the same exact thing to us.
Should we be worried or concerned?
No, I think that from all the evidence that we've seen, they've been benevolent. They've done good things, helpful things, by a vast majority of the cases. So I think we should look at them like our family, our cousins. And, God's creation is so much larger, more diverse, and dynamic than we ever imagined. And welcome them and, prioritize communication. And I think the more people do CE5, the less fear there is. I think as society changes, just like craft have changed over time, I think the behavior and the interaction will increase over time. And we can play a huge role in that by reaching out. A handshake only happens when two people reach out their hand.
Are we ready for it though? Because there's a lot of people out there. Myself, I'd put myself in that group as well, that strongly believe that the majority of people out there, and I'm not just saying the UFO crowd, but the 8 billion people, or nearly 8 billion people on this planet, which the majority of them are not into this subject. It scares them, or for various reasons, including religion. All right, I think there is a real issue here with the idea that we may be able to handle this. I don't believe it for a second.
Well, you know what? Think of Galileo's time. They truly, firmly believed the universe revolved around Earth. Sometimes knowing the truth, although hard to accept, allows a bigger, deeper spiritual and required growth in order to mature. And it's kind of like with your kids. At some point you give them the car keys. And with those car keys comes so many different other responsibilities and things that happen. And you kind of do it in faith that your kid's going to be okay. They have to live their own life. You can't completely protect them in everything they do. And I think we are at that stage now where we could be, if we had good leaders and a good, mass media promoting the right perspective and not fear-mongering, that this is a magical, important, huge time for humanity. And you can't hide it for long. The major inventions, the major power sources, anti-gravity, things like that, can't be hidden for too long, because, there's an effect that kind of happens. People will, things will happen whether you try to stop them or not. There's that 100th monkey effect. Another country will bring out theirs first, I think America should lead and say, yes, there's these advanced craft coming through. There's amazing videos and pictures and all this stuff. We can't share everything with you, but if they did that, it would cause humanity slowly but surely to start asking the next really crucial questions. And those are questions that could save our very existence. You might realize how precious we are.
30 seconds. What question would you like to ask?
There's so many. It depends which, race, but I don't know. There's so many. It's mind-boggling. I've talked about this question so many times. It's tough. There's wonderful ones like, do you experience love? That's probably would be my biggest one. Or the parameters of their technology, I would love to know. I'd love to know all of the different species that are known. There's so much I'd want to know, Dave. It's like ridiculous. So much stuff.
I don't blame you. I'm the same way, my friend. I'm the same way.
Can I fly? Can I fly one?
Yes. That's the big question right there. When do we get to go for our ride? I'm very jealous. About a year and a half ago, I met a 12-year-old girl who came on a ghost tour that I was doing at the local museum. And she told me that she had actually flown a craft. You know how jealous I was? Incredibly. Incredibly. My friend, hold on right there, because we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Buddy Bolton, we're going to get into consciousness, summoning, everything to do with the mind, with one of the best that's being studied out there right now. All right, my friend, I'm going to just quickly step away for a couple seconds here, go let my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
Enjoy, my friend.
For just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's west coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
All right, my friend, I am back. How you doing?
Good, good.
You having fun yet?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Sweet.
So I'm a little old and cranky, so it's a little past my bedtime, but I can fake it.
Oh, me too. Me too, my friend. Me too. I hide behind my hair. All right.
You notice how the hair comment silenced me so quickly.
I apologize. I got some. I got some. If you need some.
I do. Bad. I
got lots.
There's the old joke. I'm in a hair replacement program. I'm a donor. Dum-dums.
I got lots. I got lots. All right. We have about just over 90 seconds left before we come back from break. I'll reintroduce you and the show, and then we're off and running.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Been good tonight.
A little ginger ale.
I'm on iced tea.
Oh, that's good. You get the little caffeine boost. That's good. That's needed.
Yeah, it works for me.
Is it a slate tea?
Yeah.
Or is it just a straight?
Well, up here we don't do trying to find iced tea like you have in the U.S. It's very difficult. Everything up here is sweet tea.
Yeah, well, I've fallen deeply in love, possibly because of addictive chemicals in Tim Hortons coffee. I loved my double.
Don't blame you. I was at Tim Hortons twice today. Not gonna lie, I was there twice today.
The breakfast muffins are evil. Biscuits.
Oh yeah.
Oh, evil.
Try the
double.
Try the breakfast bacon belt.
Oh, don't do it to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on.
Cool.
We got about 15 seconds. Thank you to Human Carl for the super chat kicking things off tonight. Thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Everybody who's tuned on in, it's a great way to support that show. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. Here we go with the second hour of the show.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for tuning us in. My name is Dave Scott, the guy behind the microphone, and we say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Macadamize. Macadamize is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking from the YouTube channel Alien Protocols. We have Buddy Bolton on the show. We're going to talk about the mind and the power of it. Buddy, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave.
Not a problem. One of the things I want to talk about with the power of the mind is UFO summoning. This is a very controversial portion of the UFO field because many people out there do not believe that it can happen. Many believe it's staged with people, holding balloons in other areas of towns or parks that they release, and then all of a sudden the summoning happens and these shiny objects that look like balloons are up in the sky. I mean, that's one of the aspects of it all if you're skeptical about the entire phenomena. But there are those as well who believe that you can summon in craft. How is this done?
Well, I think, there is a very dark history to a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of hoaxers and fakers, and with many different fields, these kind of people, parasites kind of, or people with different mental disabilities even, try to say this and that and the other, and you really have to have some sort of repeatability for anything to be science. It has to be repeatable. It has to be repeatable under the scrutiny of science. It has, if you see a flicker, up in the sky, it doesn't mean it's an advanced civilization from, another dimension. And I think it's really important to be very, very rational about, first of all, sightings. DE5 groups is basically close encounters of the fifth kind. It's human-initiated contact. And there is a long, very successful, and if you really look at the research, very hard to dispute case history for this ability and these type of groups to be successful. And it always, no matter what the group or the situation, it always comes back to consciousness. And it seems that several different aspects are crucial. And there are groups around the world, from a very successful, well-known group called Rama, of course, Stephen Greer does his CE5 groups. And, the connection between consciousness and, UFOs is pretty straightforward, in my opinion. And it's this field that we were talking about in the first hour, this field that makes these abilities of consciousness possible. It's a field like the electromagnetic field that we, didn't know we were in for, thousands of years, but now we couldn't live without. And there is this other field. And some people utilize it. Like our senses utilize different types of fields. Our eyes utilize the electromagnetic spectrum in the visual wavelength. Our ears hear auditory frequencies and waves. Our taste buds chemically. And so these are all different senses. And this other sense, the sense of intuition, is less powerful naturally than these other senses. But you can't dispute grandma when she's right. She knows something's going to happen, or she knows you did this, or there's a million great anecdotes just from families on the abilities, aside from all the impeccable research that's been done at top universities and research institutes about the abilities of consciousness. So if this consciousness field, if this thing is real, then you would expect advanced civilizations would know about it and utilize it. And if they saw someone utilizing this field a lot, maybe that would be a connection. It's interesting. There's a famous Buddhist named Nagarjuna who has this great quote, and it's about the abilities to see any space and time. And the quote is, "If you still your mind like the surface of a lake, you can reflect the universe." And there's something about the subconscious, this primal connection to reality that has incredible access to this field. And time again, people who, from the Rama group, who are intuitives, who have proven an ability to be accurate with some of this stuff, they can make predictions, and they can even do summonings. And I think the more you tap on this field, like Nagarjuna was talking about that lake, the more you tap on it, the more civilizations or others who are familiar with the field can detect that. So I think that's a real connection between the two.
Okay, I think that's a good definition of it. But how if say Jules or Kimberly or Michael or Patrick in our chat room wanted to do this, how would they go about starting this?
A lot of different groups have a lot of different beliefs, but I believe it can be a lot simpler than you think. It's not necessarily always what you do. Part of it is who you are. And I know that sounds a little, prejudice on some level, but I believe that these advanced civilizations won't contact negative people. They don't want to waste their time on, negativity, or, they have it just seems from case history, time and time again, they seem to contact people that are in this real altruistic state of mind, that they're very mindful and contemplative and loving, and they have no desire to profiteer off of the event or to reverse engineer it to military purposes. And those people in those groups, in those situations where they set up this really positive consciousness reality, those are the ones that seem to be very successful. But the second you bring one person whose real intent is to reverse engineer, try to glean some aspect of science that they could reverse engineer into a weapon for an agency or a group or a country, then this event won't happen. I mean, you hear time and time again, one bad egg will spoil the CE5 group. And you can have the same thing true with some of these other abilities of psi. If there's a really negative person there, they can mess with your mind and, get you off your track a little bit. But I think these positive minds, these positive thoughts, perhaps can even be read. I have an EEG machine. It's very inexpensive. It's called Muse. It allows you to do meditation and track your heart rate and your brain waves and control them and bring them up and down, and even specific brain waves. I've got, the ability to spike any brain wave from around 5 hertz to about 120 hertz. All the different brain waves, I can spike and hold them above all the others at my will, just from working with this machine. And these hertz are real detectable signals that can be measured by machines. And these different brain wave states indicate different types of emotional states and consciousness states. And I believe, what makes us us is also in some of these electrical signals that are in our brain. And perhaps just like the EEG machine can read my brain waves, perhaps an advanced civilization can read my consciousness. I don't know that for sure, but that seems to be an ongoing theme.
Is it a consciousness connection with the spirits or the species above that creates the sighting? Or is it just a signal that the mind puts out there that is picked up on by one of these craft?
I think there's a couple possibilities, and it's really interesting to think about. Lance Munguia, who's a great director, who directed a really important film called Third Eye Spies, and it talks about the government's, the CIA and Department of Defense's 20-year program that utilized psychics, and it was called remote viewing. They created a very special 7-page method that allowed people who never even, heard about psychics learn this method and be able to see different distant places incredibly accurately. And they taught people how to do this. And these abilities and the ability to tap onto that field, I believe, is what makes that connection. But directly to, an advanced civilization, if you're tapping on that field that anyone can learn how to tap into, that can be one of the reasons why a occurrence happens, a real occurrence. But then there's some other very kind of edge beliefs, but could also be possible. People like Vallée and Terence McKenna and many of the great minds say that some of these cases, some of these sightings, could actually be creations of the mind. And this is where places like Skinwalker and other places come into effect more and more. So that is kind of a very intense and bizarre and very edgy thought that somehow a mind could create a physical craft. But, there's speculation into some of that as well. So, I think mostly it's just consciousness's raw ability to make a connection, and there are real connections with advanced civilizations most of the time. But I do think some of the time, some of this stuff and some of the phenomena that's witnessed are creations of the mind, materializing physically in our world.
Almost like our own UFO tulpas.
Absolutely. Wonderful observation. For those who don't know, in the Buddhist philosophy, there's something called a tulpa, which is a little being that can be created with thought and a bunch of other procedures. But other things can too. And there's just an amazing case history of weird things that have been attributed to strictly the power of the mind. And there's incredible research that's been done to John Hutchinson, the Hutchinson effect. And he had all these wacky machines in his apartment, stacked up, all this Army surplus stuff. And he did staggering stuff with metals and all sorts of different stuff. And if you just watch one or two of the videos, you'll be like, this is I don't believe this. And if you start watching more and more and more, you're like, oh my goodness. Holy freaking Toledo. And even incredible scientists like Dr. Hathaway and many others who studied Hutchinson. Hathaway wrote a great book about it, and others have written books about it, scientists who studied him. say that they were created either in his mind in conjunction with the universe somehow did stuff that shouldn't in normal context happen. Transmuting metals from one metal type, one element to another. And some of these metal samples are still transmogrifying. He created batteries that were like solid state infinite batteries out of just throwing some rocks in a PVC tube and saying, this is the anode, this is the cathode, and put his consciousness behind it. And the Japanese company bought the rights to it and a bunch of the batteries. And, he just did amazing incident after incident. And Ingo Swann has documentedly done amazing physical thing after amazing physical thing. I've seen this stuff in my work. And I just don't think, if you really want to know the answers, you can't say you know everything. There's a lot of different potential causes. So just for that simple question, buddy, how does the summoning thing work? Is it strictly, just the consciousness thing? Ultimately, I don't know, but it really seems to be, the one thing that ties everything together is the power of the subconscious, human potential.
How do we tap into that? For, say, you've been known to bend forks and spoons and other powers used with your mind in order to remote view. How do we get there?
You have to want to first. You have to want to, and you have to want to really do it and be patient enough to do it and follow the training methods. It's like any muscle. The more you work it, the better it gets. The more you understand the sensations and the feelings for different types of occurrences, and you start to understand this very delicate instrument, this, very sublime musical instrument, and you discover what works for you. But the more you exercise, the more these neural pathways go from, tiny little connection to a little sidewalk, and then to a little road, and then to a little street, and then a highway and a superhighway. And the more you train, the more these connections, the more it flows naturally, the better the skill gets. You see it again and again and again. And it just has to be worked on. And there is astonishing amount of social stigma around this, to the point where it's, I think, detrimental to human potential across the board. I think we should raise our kids and treat each other in a no judgment zone. If we felt all comfortable to fail really big in front of everybody, we could do the impossible. That you shouldn't dream small, you should dream big and feel comfortable doing those big dreams and those big leaps in front of people, with each other, with the support of each other. And we won't just have the best psychics, we would have the best architects and the best dancers and the best singers, and break down all the old past beliefs. We're on the edge of, oblivion right now, humanity is. Have to look at the biosphere. It's just crashing and it's being burnt. And even, amateur biologists will tell you that the planet is in its 6th mass extinction. And we're not thinking big, and if there's a time where humanity is going to be suffering, it's going to be in the near future, just like we suffered in the past. But there's going to be massive starvation and all these other things that don't take psychic abilities. You just look at the population growth versus the finite resources, and there is going to be tremendous suffering. And the planet has a way to create balance. The biosphere has a way to create balance. And, I think we should have our kids prepared to be the best that they can be, whatever they choose to be. And feel free to explore consciousness. We have physical education classes. We don't have consciousness education. Kids should know how to slow down their heart when they're stressed out, or how to control different brain waves, and, work on these different abilities. I think consciousness education with physical education would make a much better society.
I think so too, but don't forget, we're not even teaching kids in school how to balance bank books or create credit, so we can't expect consciousness to be on there. You know what I'm saying?
it's screwed. We can actually, safely say that our education system is pretty screwy. But in the, Eastern world, a lot of these subjects are taught, and it brings great tranquility and a life improvement to a lot of different groups from, Chinese, Japanese, Tibetans, and many other groups that focus on consciousness from an early age. In the Western traditions, it's a very taboo kind of subject. Even with physicists, it's a taboo subject. Is it observation because of consciousness that affects quantum collapses, which is a subject I've spoken about with many scientists, that classic debate in quantum physics about whether it's observation or the consciousness, or the measurement. And even now, the top physicists are saying that consciousness is interwoven in our universe. It's not, matter and energy and space-time first and then consciousness, or consciousness first and then matter. It's a tapestry. It's this wonderful, beautiful tapestry. And, quantum physics is butting heads with it right now. So it's pretty amazing that all these different scientific topics are leading back to the great mystery of consciousness.
Okay, so how do you bend a fork? You've done it.
And so I prefer now to do, for a short period I did kitchen utensils, or just when they're around with people, but I prefer to do screwdrivers. I've done them in front of a lot of people, and there's a video on my channel, and an article Maureen Seberg saw me do it in front of her, and I've done it in front of other people. And the funny thing is, all of these different things you have to try for the first time at one point, right? And I saw this famous French psychokinesis guy, a psi practitioner, who could bend metal without touching it. He would wave his hand over it. And he said that the secret to it was not giving up. Sometimes early on, especially, it takes up to an hour not to give up. And I said, F it, I'm going to try. I'm willing to fail big. I don't care. I can laugh at myself, my comedy background. And I tried. And the very first time I tried, there was an effect. And it's happened again and again and again. And it's with all sorts of different types of material. And it's gotten to the point where I just do it as no touch, metal bending or no touch blank. And it's the same thing that affects machines. I was down in a lab in Huntsville and just played with a couple of different machines and was able to affect them. And there's video on my channel as well of me affecting like shielded compasses and stuff. And someone from a big agency, an airspace agency, acting as control, putting their hand in to make sure it's not some sort of trickery, And there is this ability we all have to affect other things. If you believe in prayer, helping others, or healing prayer, or positive prayer or thought, that's psychokinesis. Then you have to believe in this other stuff. And I think so much of it is about state of mind. Some people will have successful, UFO sightings for a long period of time, and then they won't. Or they'll demonstrate eye abilities for a while, and then they won't. And they wonder why not, what's going on? And it's always about coming back to your consciousness and being well-grounded and mindful and exercising and working on these things and this balance that you find in there. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff starts to blossom. And the universe that we lived in previously, that was safe and cool and awesome, you now realize is surrounded by magnificent mysteries that are a testament to God's, dynamism. So I like this edge of reality that's unsafe and uncharted, but is in the process of just now being understood and contains miracles and things that could really help humanity. It's exciting stuff. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, I pinch myself half the time,
Well, on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. We have Buddy Bolton talking consciousness, the power of the mind, remote viewing, everything to do with what's in all of our heads. Can you do it? I'd like to. Let's find out how next. Spaced Out Radio. All right, my friend, we're clear.
Great. I'll get into a bunch of different training methods and tips in the next section then.
Perfect. Let's do it. Let's do it. I cannot wait. I'm going to the chiropractor tomorrow. Gonna go get my bones cracked and crunched.
Nice.
Oh, can't wait.
Nice release of endorphins. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have this giant knot in my back that literally has from my shoulders right down to my fingers tingling. And my guy is going to get rid of that tomorrow. I'm so happy.
Wow.
So happy about that.
I've got some exercises for you. If you remind me at the end of the show, I'll walk you through something that might help.
Perfect. All right. Bear with me. Oh. There we go. So did you have to, and once again, we're still on the air on YouTube, did you have to sign a bunch of NDAs with the agencies and the other people that you worked with?
Some situations, yes, but most of them, no. But some situations, it was rather intense.
Yeah. I would assume you had to sign one with Skinwalker.
I really can't get into that too much.
It's all we needed to know. All we needed to know. Yeah. We had Brandon Fugel on about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, Brandon is the sweetest guy. I've got so many wonderful things to say about Brandon and my relationship and friendship with him, and it's so many testaments to his character and how good of a person he is.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy.
They would know. Yeah, he, on a behind-the-scenes level, he is just a wonderful, sweet guy, a good human, good man.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Skinwalker Ranch. That's for sure.
Oh, I got stuff for you. Oh boy, I wouldn't have been kept around for 2 years if I sucked or was unproductive.
Oh.
And Eric Bard is the most amazing scientist. He is I just can't speak highly enough about him as not only a scientist and engineer, but as a human being as well. I've been very blessed in that situation.
I would just love to get down there. Would love to get down there.
Well, you are a skinwalker. I'm a skinwalker. We all are skinwalkers. You can make wherever you want a skinwalker ranch.
My goal is to find this where the equivalent to Skinwalker Ranch here is up here in Canada.
I'm sure there's a lot of places, and there's a lot of things that make one of those locations, but the biggest thing, the most powerful thing, is the reputation. So if you can create a reputation of a place that has paranormal phenomena, or some people, there's a lot of haunted buildings that have had repeatable weird stuff caught on video. I mean, really weird, hard to explain stuff again and again. And perhaps it's the reputation that gives the subconsciousness of some of the observers a pass to say, maybe I can do something weird here, because it's haunted. It's a haunted house.
Very true. I actually have a realtor.
It's like a magic feather.
I actually have a realtor friend of mine now looking for the most haunted farm that is for sale. And I said, dude, I said, literally, I want you to ask these people how haunted it is. Because if it's haunted, because here's the thing, if it's haunted, you know, there's other stuff that's going to be going on there. People may not just have recognized it. Hold on 1 second here. Here we go.
Absolutely.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for tuning us in. My name is Dave Scott, and I'm hanging out with all of you here from SOR headquarters. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue our conversation tonight with Buddy Bolton. He has been studied for his psychic ability. He has a YouTube channel called Alien Protocols, which I highly suggest you subscribe to as well. Buddy, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right. We're working on the minds here of all the Spaced Out Radio listeners that are tuned on in right now. How do we get them to work for us so we can have more abilities, whether it's to astral travel, remote view, contact aliens, or have a good conversation over tea with Bigfoot?
Well, I think there's two paths. There's two things that intertwine together that give you a better connection to the subconscious and more mastery of these kind of abilities. The first thing is meditation. And my suggestion is if you don't meditate and even the thought sounds foreign to you, start really small. Just do 30-second meditations. Try to find that stillness for 30 seconds. And get more advanced with longer and longer time and more ability to have nothingness. You know, think of all blackness with a red dot, and then get rid of the red dot, and then get rid of the nothingness, the blackness. And all these different ways to have deeper and deeper meditation. So that's one side. And then the other side is training. And there's very specific things you can do to improve this sense. Like your other senses, you can train and improve all of your senses. And things I recommend are I think it's really important to have a training partner. Someone that you can talk to, that you can work with, that can be a blind data source to keep the purity of your readings and, you know, the accuracy of your, you know, predictions and remote viewings and all that stuff. Someone you can have fun with and excitement with and bounce back and forth with. So that's one important thing. Another thing is a real pioneer in this subject named Russell Targ, who you'll see in that movie Third Eye Spies, which I just cannot recommend enough. Third Eye Spies from Lance Munguia talks about the early era of the CIA getting into all of this stuff, and Stanford University and the remote viewing program and how it did amazing, incredible things. Even like Jimmy Carter said that this group was the most amazing thing he had seen in his presidency. When you find out some of the stuff that was just released and came out, it's really staggering. So this guy, Russell Targ, one of those pioneers, created a game with NASA, a training game. And he just turned it into an app. And it's a very faithful recreation. And it's ESP Trainer. And it's an app. Unfortunately, I believe it's only for iPhone and iProducts right now. But it uses multisensory reinforcement to help you learn that signal. It's got vibrations, colors, sounds, pictures, all sorts of different sensory information to help train your subconscious what the accurate information is. And it has a way to judge yourself and judge the quality of your your intuitions and track yourself and improve over time. It's really, really wonderful. So that's two. You could work with the ESP trainer every day, every couple of days, sharpening and building your skill and your abilities. There's a bunch of other little games and tricks that you can teach yourself, and you can play almost anytime, alone or with friends. If you're like even stuck in your car somewhere, what is the next vehicle that's going to come around the corner? What color is it? How many doors does it have? You can do the same thing with people walking around the corner. Is there going to be a male, a female? What are they going to be wearing? What do they do? So there's so many of these tips and trainings you can teach. You can, for free, you can learn a lot of remote viewing just from online videos and courses. And so I would recommend working on all of this stuff, all of the different psi abilities and training and meditation. And that will allow these connections to just become deeper. And your understanding of your own subconscious and your ability to access these senses and these abilities will be improved. And it works time and time again. So just those basics and you're off and running.
Okay, so with that, okay, when you say you're off and running, do you have to be in a meditative state? Does your mind have to be altered into a different reality?
No, not necessarily. There's different philosophies on this. I work with Dr. Gallenberger from the Moreau Institute, and he's worked a lot with hemisync, and he's actually a psychokinesis practitioner as well. And hemisync is these tones that are played into your ears, and these frequencies allow a resonant frequency in the center of your brain, basically, that are supposed to be very conducive for psychic accuracy. And it increases your gamma wave output and other things like that. So I worked with him, and I was able to utilize these different training methods and these different things that he taught and hemisync and stuff to affect casino games. I went in with $300 and left with $3,200. And you know, Dr. Gallenberger is another someone I highly recommend reading his work on psychokinesis and, you know, how to access this stuff. But it's super dynamic topic.
Where in the back of your mind do you have to find this hidden gem in order to be able to have that level of consciousness and that strength in your ability?
Well, I think you have to have a real openness about being, you know, not afraid to fail. There are going to be times when you fail. And, you know, a wonderful human taught me that, you know, we're not, all of us, we're not freaking magicians in this life. We don't magically make the rent appear. We don't magically make any of the practicalities of our lives appear. You know, and I'm not a magician either in this stuff. We're all basically scientists. And if you're a scientist, a quote-unquote, a failure never happens if you learn from the data, the information. So if you can't fail, then you can keep trying bigger and bigger and get better and better and get more and more accuracy. And you learn over time to understand your own instrument, your own brain, your own subconscious, and these different signals that say, holy Toledo, that's the right signal. So you have to get to know yourself really well.
How do psychedelics help, though? There's a lot of people testing out ayahuasca. There's a lot of people testing out other psychedelics like magic mushrooms.
Well, I don't recommend it for a bunch of different reasons. It is a pathway, as you could understand, to the subconscious. But you want to have control of your journey. You don't want to, you know, get there on a rocket ship and not have any control once you're in this intense location. You know, Terrence McKenna did a lot of exploration into psychedelics and DMT and, you know, the machine elves and all of this different stuff. And I just think you should get the mastery without any boosts. So when you reach your greater potential, then you can turn to them. But if you turn to those boosts and those things too early, they could actually inhibit your future growth. So yes, it is a shortcut, but sometimes shortcuts aren't worth the journey. So I really don't recommend drugs and psychedelics and stuff. Sometimes people need a transformative event. They might be a little bit outside of the esoteric world. And in that case, I might say, you know what? That guy needs an ayahuasca trip. But other than that, I don't think it's necessarily a good overall practice. You should control your brain in these experiences naturally. And then, if you want, try some of the more intense ones.
It makes sense. It makes total sense. What about alcohol or marijuana?
I think for me, it's weird. I don't want to be a hypocrite, and I want to be, earnest about it. Sometimes if I'm in a different state, although when I've been drunk, I've had staggering, luck at casinos. Like to the point where it was freaking ridiculous. And because I got to that carefree, the same kind of space that I could get to with meditation. But then there's all the negative things that can happen associated with it. So I really don't think you need them. You don't want to depend on them, because that's instantly going to give your abilities a handicap. I can't do good remote viewing without, smoking a joint. I don't buy that. I don't believe it. So it's a little bit of a shortcut. Both of those are just a less shortcut than hallucinogens.
Well, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Now, what about people who are younger, children, teenagers? Are they in more connection?
Absolutely. And I think the key to so much of this is about resonance and empathy. Two tuning forks, there's an empathetic, sympathetic relationship between them. You hit a note with one, and the other one of the same frequency starts to vibrate sympathetically. And they know each other in this incredible way across space and time. And the more you empathize and think about others and connect with them and sympathize and empathize with them and all these different things, love them, you will create an entrainment, a connection. And you will find with your closer friends, like they did at the Pear Institute, the Princeton labs, they found out that close friends were much more accurate than strangers put together. And oftentimes couples did incredibly well. So, you can resonate with another person and find this resonance. So teaching kids about empathy, if you taught kids that empathy would give them superpowers, that would be a real change in psychology. Kids would really care about each other. And maybe we wouldn't have another school shooting in my fantasy world there if we had consciousness education and taught that empathy equals real magic. It really does. It creates, resonance is a phenomena that creates and transfers energies across distances and barriers that normally would be impossible. But these resonances happen all across physics and science and the natural world. So we know that's true. Maybe in this case it's more semantics, but it really is a reflection of something that's really going on. The more you have a resonance with someone, the better your ability to work together in these, ESP type functions. So it's really cool. It's really cool. So I think it's fine for kids to explore this stuff. It's important for kids to learn how to control their consciousness and their mind and their body. Kids oftentimes have anger issues and get upset and don't know how to calm down their own heart. Imagine if we taught them how to do that. And yes, they do naturally have a little bit less of the society bubble of what's impossible around them. There's more possibilities in a child's mind. They're willing to fail and try big, crazy things because they don't care quite as much, about, everyone's thoughts to a certain degree. They want to see if they can fly once or twice. You know, they'll put a towel around their neck and just give it a shot once, you know. But I think this is very healthy for kids. I think it's healthy for them to explore their intuition, listening to their gut. I think the word psychic, you know, in many ways, it has such horrible stuff attached to it. It has the neon light, you know, gypsy scam, psychic kind of impression on it. And when it's a real thing that's been studied for 150 years, it's a percentage, you know, statistical thing. It's not 100% all the time. It's not like an X-Man superpower, but it is something that can be developed. And we should be very happy to have our kids understand their own potential, consciousness-wise and other ways. So it's a good topic for kids. They do have a natural connection. They have less barriers to learn a lot of these things. There's a lot of different child groups that do incredible stuff, trained by some esoteric teachers. In the UK, there's a group, I think it's called Envision, but they put blindfolds on, and the kids are able to do amazing things blindfolded and detect things, and their ESP is great. They're, you know, trained every week. And so I think it would be a really positive thing for kids, even in a more formal setting. But in current modern day settings, just to teach them, you know, that your abilities are more than you think, and you can do more than you think, and you can achieve the amazing. And the impossible only lives in your fears. Don't listen to what anyone else says. If you have love and empathy and resonance in your heart, you can do magic. And a little support, a little love goes a long way in helping to nurture these abilities. I found that very true in my case.
Does that just include? Sorry for cutting you off.
No. I babble.
Does that just include for getting in touch with one's higher self, or does that also include, not just for children but for everybody, things like remote viewing or astral travel?
Includes everything. Everything. I think we should have this kind of, with kids, I think there's a logical progression that they should go through. You shouldn't instantly throw them into like astral travel or anything really intense that, might freak out their classmates or, have their friends' moms think you're satanic. But tell them to trust their gut instincts and their intuition. And you could introduce them to some of these games and some of this stuff. And you could even practice things with them. What color dress do you think, Aunt Nancy's going to have on today? Who do you think's, calling on the phone right now? Or who is going to? And there's nothing shameful about that. You're not teaching, witchcraft or anything dark. It's ultimately about empathy and, positive connection. So I think for each parent, they're going to have to feel it out their own way. But I think it's an important thing that parents could contribute to, if they really want their child to have the maximum potential. Let them know that they're limitless. Let them know that their subconscious is more powerful than even modern day science knows.
We've only got about 5.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Buddy Bolton is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. How do we get into remote viewing if we've never done it before?
Oh, this is so fun. This is so cool. Remote viewing is like a 7-page process that you can learn. The best teacher that I found, and I've done a lot of research into this stuff, is Dr. Simeon Hine. His website is newcrystalmind.com, and he teaches the method taught by the person who invented it, Ingo Swann. And Ingo's method is this very specific 7-page method that you can learn. You can learn some of the basic starting methods online in videos, like Prudence Calabrese is her name. She has a wonderful Remote Viewing 1 class. And you do your very first remote viewing right there in that class, that video. And I've seen people have incredible results from just that class. But then there's multiple other pages and steps to the process that bring out more and more information from the subconscious. And they learned over time with this program that they did almost 20 years with the CIA and the Department of Defense and many different agencies of the government. They were able to take people off the street, soldiers who didn't believe in this stuff, and they would even have people from the CIA would come in to assess these programs and to audit them. You know, we're paying, millions of dollars for a freaking psychic program. What the hell's going on here? What kind of trickery are you guys pulling? And they ended up teaching the auditors the methods and had them do the remote viewings. And they had incredible viewings, some of them. And so it's a process that can be taught, and that's the most powerful validation of it. So you can learn this stuff today. You can start learning it today. I will gladly help anyone. All the stuff I do and we do with our channel, from the healings to the remote viewings and readings or whatever, it's always free. I don't want to be, like the neon light psychics. This is something we all have. So it's an honor and a pleasure to, teach and share the information. But I'd recommend, watch that Prudence Calabrese video, the Third Eye Spies documentary, which talks tremendously about remote viewing and its history, and you get to see the legends and the creators of remote viewing. And then I would take some Dr. Simeon Hine classes because he's definitely the best teacher.
Yeah, we've had him on the show. He was absolutely incredible in learning from him, and that's something that we're going to have to do a little bit more often. But when you remote view, for people who may not be familiar with it, what can you do? Where do you like to go?
Wow, this is such a fun topic. It's exhilarating when you really think about it. You can go any place, anytime, basically. And you can come back with evidence that can be validated. Sometimes you'll be asked to do targets that cannot be validated, like, what is going on under the ice in Europa, buddy? And I can tell you what's going on there, and it won't be able to be validated for many years. But the only way to know how accurate you are with unverifiable targets, the only way to know how accurate you are with unverifiable targets is to have a solid average from verifiable targets. So from targets that we can get the results from, how accurate am I? And if I'm up at an incredibly high percentile, then you would think my accuracy for unverifiable targets would be, a little bit less than that, probably. So, it's important to have a realistic understanding, but it's so cool. The things you can do, the places you can go, what you can accomplish. You can physically affect different things. You can experience all sorts of experiences you've never had, synesthesia. You can feel sensations that others are feeling. There's so many aspects to it that are wonderful. When you break down these barriers, these self-constructed barriers we have, and allow your subconscious to make these connections and these events to happen and to nurture them and to feel like, you can't fail because you're learning each time. And you'll see over time your remote viewings will improve, the data will be more verifiable and accurate, and you'll have cooler and cooler experiences. Some of them are very sublime, where you just get the information comes from your subconscious. It's like the very first thing that pops to your mind. And it's a very sublime kind of experience. And other times, it's a rich experience, like you're being taken for a ride. And the data just pours out like you're watching a movie, or like a living, like a virtual reality where you can smell, touch, taste, and feel, and you're being thrust into this other experience. So it's a variety of different experiences. It happens different ways for different people and different times, but it is so cool. And the boundaries are still being explored. What's impossible?
My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have 30 more minutes with Buddy Bolton tonight. His YouTube channel, Alien Protocols. You want to subscribe and check that out. We're going to continue with the consciousness of the mind coming up next on Spaced Out Radio's Hour Number 3. All right, my friend, I'm going to quickly run my dog out again, and I'll be right back, okay?
Great, enjoy.
It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you.
All right, I'm back. Excuse me.
Me as well, pardon?
I'm back. You?
Half hour left, correct?
Yeah, and when we get to the next break, just hold on. After I say goodnight to you on the air, just hold on, and I will say goodnight to you formally during the break.
Beautiful. Looking forward to it all.
Ow! God, that just stung. Oh, I just cracked my shit on my desk.
That sounded loud.
Yeah, that didn't feel good.
Ooh. Oh, Nelly. That and the back.
All right. We got just under a minute.
I'm usually not up this late.
You're doing great.
The miracle of coffee.
And iced tea. All right. Still got well over 100 in our chat room watching on YouTube right now. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's very cool. Wow.
All right, 15 seconds. Ten seconds. Hold on, my friend.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it, as we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Macadamize. Macadamize is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce the man behind the great YouTube channel, Alien Protocols. Buddy Bolton is his name, and he's been giving us some great information on how the conscious mind works, and we're going to continue with that right now. Buddy, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
Boy, you speak of Simeon Hine, and the next thing you know, Simeon Hine shows up in our chat room on YouTube.
I've got a great story about Simeon. How we first met, it was decided that we would possibly meet in New York City one day. I was in the Bronx, and he was outside of the city. And so I forgot exactly how we set, like, we would possibly meet maybe around the time, whatever. So I went into town and went to between 23rd and 24th Street, basically on 24th Street. And I get a call from him at the supposed time. We did not pick a location. And he said, where are you? And I'm on, 24th Street. And I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm on the other side of the street. He was literally on the first time I met him, completely by chance, at, Midtown. Not Midtown, I guess I forget what you'd call 23rd, that area. But literally, he was across the street from me. So it was a wonderful way to meet Doc. And I've just admired his work and his brain power and his contribution to remote viewing and his bravery and his books and his research. He's a dynamic, great guy.
Definitely one of the best out there, and a brilliant, brilliant man. And we have to get him on the show again. We totally have to.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of those voices in his field. Not to, bang a drum here for him or anything like that, but he's one of these voices in this field that when he speaks, we should all listen. You know what I'm saying by that?
Absolutely. Everything that he researches, he does with a lot of scrutiny. And if you care about these subjects on the very edge of reality, then you want to hear from well-educated, cogent, incisive minds. And he has one. And, it's refreshing.
Very refreshing. Very refreshing. All right, we were talking remote viewing and the power of the brain in able to travel anywhere that you want to go on this planet or off planet. We also know that the governments of the world, especially the United States and Russia, have experimented with this to try and get an upper hand on what is going on with their personal adversaries. Do you believe that, that nefarious way of remote viewing is still going on?
Well, in the public domain, there's a lot of information that would indicate that. That the official exploration of these abilities did not stop, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. There's been articles about Russia having, I think it was either 3 or 5 buildings across Russia dedicated to the detection of talents, and then the nurturing, and then the use of these talents. China has a very well-documented history of exploring this stuff and working with scientists and producing some incredible results. And if you go to the CIA reading room and other places, you can read about China's psychic spies and China's documented cases, and they even have, pictures and video and film of doing extraordinary things, not just remote viewing, but passing metal through other objects, passing one object to another object. And if you look at the Chris Mellon leak, once again, from ATIP, I was talking about earlier, they talked about these vulnerabilities that the U.S. has. One of them was automatic sensor disassembly. So ATIP in the military had experienced, it was instantaneous sensor disassembly. The military had experienced situations where, when encountering UFOs, some of their equipment was disassembled instantly. And this is also something that you've heard of with Skinwalker Ranch and other places. So the powers of the mind are not something to be trifled with.
What about for astral travel?
That's something that it can be taught. There seems to be a more of a natural proclivity for it to others. Some people have it more than others. Very famous psychic Pat Price did astral travel as well. And he was incredibly accurate, and it offers different possibilities than traditional remote viewing offers. And it's something that I've done even as a kid, lying in my bed before bedtime, flying through the universe. We all kind of do that. And taking that to another level and continuing to do it allows you basically to do astral. If you're getting that information from that still subconscious realm, that those gestalts are what's filling your astral experience, then you will have accurate astral information. And astral travel is a real technique, and it's a very productive and dynamic technique, but it's definitely an advanced technique, and not everyone can do it or has that much success with it.
Do you practice it?
It's been my favorite and kind of a natural thing. I guess you could call it astral. There's a lot of different things you could call it, but I think I've done that naturally since I was a kid, able to fly my mind over the golf course and see this girl I like, kissing another boy and knowing it, or in my mind able to do that, to look for a parking space, and it being there, and things like that. I think for me it's been a very natural thing. I've tried to teach it. Some people take it on and are able to utilize it instantly, and others, they have to go through a very laborious classic training technique of how to do it with the astral cord and separating from your body and looking down and, you know, the whole 9 yards. So it's different. I guess, you know, it's kind of like a musical talent. Some people have it naturally and some people don't, but you can learn it.
Where have you traveled to astrally?
Different times, places across the universe, different civilizations, different planets with life forms, oceans, nebulas, magnetars, so many different places. Every place that you could, you know, want to know some answers, I have tried and had success in a lot of them, going beyond our universe to other universes, trying to get a bigger picture of the multiverse. I've been to a lot of the different planets in our solar systems and moons, and, you know, been able to see not a life, 9 different places in our solar system alone. So it's pretty cool. And, you know, some of the stuff I've written down, and if in the future they find the type of life and the different things I've described at different locations in the solar system, then it'll be a continued, you know, validation. Ingo Swann was able to do that, and had his astrals validated later by, I forget which spacecraft, but he said that there was like a little tiny ring around Jupiter and not just Saturn. And they were like, what? Oh, there's not. And when they sent the probe there, they actually saw that little thin ring and different things. So, yeah, I've gone a lot of different places, and it's wonderfully gratifying.
Okay, for a lot of skeptics out there, they may sit there and say, look, how do we know this is just not imagination, that we are traveling to all of these places, but rather an actual out-of-body type experience?
Well, it's conceivable that I'm a very intelligent guy, and I can, you know, even if just subconsciously perceive things that are more statistically probable places than other places, and maybe that plays a partial role. Maybe, you know, I'm very open-minded about it. But the thing that seems to be stunning and at the same time perplexing and wonderful is accuracy. The ability to do it time and time again and come back with accurate information and prove I'm able to float over someone's shoulder and see what they're seeing time and time again. And when it happens to you and you experience it, it goes to a different level. There were skeptics that met me through social media. One of them, Kikadu, who's on Twitter, and he tested me and with 3 different targets, and I got stunningly accurate down to naming the targets, like a stop sign. And another gentleman, the same thing, just gave me a target number and was testing me. And from my, you know, vision and astral and the whole experience I had, it was a very rich one. I really described that target incredibly well. There was a white cow on it, and it was basically an ancient depiction of Hathor, the god. And I said, I'm getting a kneeling, and there was someone kneeling and praying in front of the white cow, which I said there was a white cow. And I described also, I said it was a depiction, an ancient depiction of something older. And I mean, I nailed this target like so incredibly well. So accuracy is the best answer to skeptics. And the skeptics should be skeptics, but they should not be irrationally closed-minded to the, you know, scientifically verifiable and repeatable abilities of some people. So not everyone is, you know, great at this, but everyone has the ability and everyone can improve. So those skeptics, just, you know, go to a good practitioner, and you'll experience something absolutely mind-boggling.
Okay, so if we're able to travel anywhere we want, off-planet, meet up with other alien species, when that connection is developed, does that connection stay with you? So if they let me expand on that a little bit. So if an alien species is traveling here, does that mean they're more likely to get in touch with you?
Well, I you know, frankly, I don't. There's so much I don't know. And as time passes, it seems like I'm unlearning. I know less and less the more I experience things. But I don't know if you can, I don't know what all the parameters. So I don't know the answer to your question about what they can do and what they can't do. In my astral experiences, I've never like sat down at a table and talked to an alien. It's always been like I've seen these creatures from a distance, or I'm invisible over their shoulder, or I see them from a distance. You know, I don't try to like bust into a party and be like, "Hey, what's going on here, aliens? What are you guys doing?" You know, or whatever. I haven't tried to, you know, do overly personal interaction. It's just been more observational. And you know, maybe I should try more and more of that. But
have you ever?
I don't know what they would do.
Have you ever picked up on people remote viewing you?
No, but I've picked up on people looking at me or seeing me, and there's been a lot of tests to this. It's a very interesting phenomenon that's had a lot of different studies done on it. People can tell when they're being looked at.
Yes.
It's very weird, and they've reproduced this experiment time and time again, and people can statistically accurately tell when they're being watched. And I felt that before, but I've never felt like someone remote viewing me before. And I wouldn't care, you know. I have nothing to hide. Kind of like how I feel about cameras in society. I'm like, fine, you know, videotape all you want. But if you're going to videotape me, we should have access to you, too. You know. If the government wants us to be transparent, the government should be also.
I remember I was having a conversation with a government remote viewer. He was a contractor. And him and I were having a conversation about some very private details. I'm not going to get into it. But him and I both picked up on a remote viewer listening in on the conversation. And the way each of us was describing him at the same time, it was eerie because we were literally describing the same dude, you know, with thinning top hair, hair on the sides of his head, you know, glasses, very meek, you know, like 5'7", 160 pounds. We were just absolutely describing him to a T. And it was funny because afterwards, after we described him, he was like, "Oh, crap," and turned it off. And all of a sudden he was gone.
Well, I believe that because, first of all, there's two people there, and the amount of there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that goes exactly to what you're saying. So I've viewed, I don't know if I can talk about it, but I've viewed people who were investigating others. And but not necessarily just, you know, through esoteric means, through electronic and other means. So I've been able to see that, but there's many levels to this, and I think very little is impossible. And I think the sentiment that you both felt there at the same time, especially since you described the same physical features, was a real experience.
Well, I think what it is too. Because Virgil in our chat room says, how do you know that was him? You can tell the energy when you're being viewed. All of a sudden, for no reason, goosebumps go up on your body and it's not cold out. And you get the feeling like you're being watched. And then you tune into the energy. Okay, where is it watching me? And you kind of break it down question by question. And you analyze it in your own mind. Because, you know, in something like this, even though the mind can play tricks, it's going to still allow you to decipher things. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes your conscious mind is led by, you know, your subconscious mind is almost like a complete stranger that is your Siamese twin who speaks a completely different language than you, but has more information about you than you have about yourself. You know, the conscious mind is like an iceberg. It's just 10% floating on the top, and 90% is all this incredible functioning that's happening under the surface that's interacting with our reality. And that subconscious mind, the more you get to know it, the more you listen to those gut instincts and feelings. Oh, I feel that the guy's bald. I feel that he's got a little fur on the side. I feel like I'm being watched right now. you cannot discount those feelings, especially when they come from that place where, signals come from, when they talk about signal versus noise.
Agreed.
And you start to get more familiar with it, like a bird song. It's like, oh, that's a canary, or that's a cardinal. I recognize that chirp. That's a cardinal. You recognize these sensations. And you obviously are someone who's been exposed to this stuff and not, had shame forced upon you for being open to experiences and then experiencing different weird things and describing them accurately, as you just did.
Dude, I have no idea. I've never been trained. I just have no idea how I know how to do it. I just know that I can. That's the weird part for me.
No, I don't even think that's weird. It's your belief. I can do it. That's all it takes sometimes. For CE5, I used to get really, deep into extra things to help. Like I would drink, mugwort tea to increase my gamma. I would do yoga. I would do certain types of meditation. I would do mantras. I would do, all these different things. And then at the end, you really realize all that stuff is kind of like a crutch. It's kind of like a magic feather. It's a safety, training wheels for you. And once you realize that, you've already learned through habit and repeat action how to access these abilities and those signals that are very sublime at first, but become recognizable as you do it more and more. And, that's the signal. That's the thing I've got to listen to. That's the information that's accurate.
I love how my good friend Eugene says in our chat room, the subconscious is the conscious mind of your invisible spirit body.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderfully, wonderfully said. There's something in Buddhism called the Manomayakaya, which is the mind-made body. And there is this kind of separate you that can travel, this mind-made body. And they describe it as, a sword in a sheath. The sheath is not you. The sword inside the sheath is the real you. That's the Manomayakaya. That is the spirit that is underneath the surface. That is you. That is more powerful than you know. And the more you say yes to it, the more you do not limit it, the more it's able to express itself and its abilities. The Buddhists 2,000 years ago talked about these remote viewing abilities, being able to see other villages, and the Puna people right now in Borneo talk about how they can see where their other tribes are when they go into something called dream walking. And in their dream walking, they will look for where their other tribes are, because it's a dense rainforest and there's so many, hundreds of miles, and they can find each other that way. And, because the culture is open to it. And, in the West here, we're very sheltered, and we need to loosen up a little and start exploring the power of consciousness, and we will have richer lives.
All right, we've only got like 35, 40 seconds left with you tonight. Do me a favor, tell everybody on our panel, our listeners, everybody, where they can find your work.
They can go to Alien Protocols on YouTube. If they would like any tips, healings, readings, stuff like that, they could email me at alienprotocols@gmail.com. And that's really it. There's never a charge for anything. If people want to donate, they're welcome to. But it's really about sharing, this love and resonance and empathy and information with each other, because we're all learning. And I'm just very thankful to be on this path, and thankful for the support of so many, and thank the listeners for staying with us tonight and listening to, my perspective on these amazing experiences.
Amazing it was, my friend, and I say a big thank you to you for coming on Spaced Out Radio for the first time, and hopefully not the last, because I had a lot of fun with you tonight, buddy, and I hope that we did enough for you to want to come back, and I know our audience would love it too, so thank you so much. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. All right, my friend. Great show.
That was fun. Next time we should do some stuff.
Yeah.
We could do a remote viewing. In
Let's
3
do
hours,
it.
that's a lot of time. We could do a couple things and do it live, and people could experience it live. We could do something double blind or whatever.
Sure.
But anyway, thank you, Dave. I appreciate your sensibilities so much. And
Oh, dude.
if there's ever anything we could do over here, it'd be an honor. So,
way too kind, man. Way too kind. And
much.
Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. Next time you're out remote viewing or you're having a conference or something with someone where you just feel like you're being watched, tune into it.
Mm-hmm.
Tune into. Oh my gosh, I'm like having deja vu here for a second. Just tune into it. You'll be able to see the person. It's pretty cool.
I bet you're right. And I'm sure I'm viewed a lot more times than I would like to suspect.
Oh, yeah. My friend.
Well, much love to you, Dave. You're a magical person.
Much love to you as well. And thank you for doing that. We'll get a hold of you in a few months, and we'll do that probably early in the new year, and we will look at doing some experimentation with our audience here on remote viewing and astral travel.
Let's do it. That'll be fun.
Absolutely. We need to. Let's do it next time.
We must.
Take care, my friend.
We will. Thank you, Dave.
Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Corin's the booking guy on another solid, fantastic guest. Corin's the booking guy, everyone. You don't get guests like that unless you have a power mustache the way Corey does. Way to go, Corin's. Another home run, man. Another home run. Fantastic guest. Fantastic. Hey there, Super Quest. How you doing, brother? Good to have you here, buddy. Always much love for you. God, that was fun. That was fun. I was right into this one. Right into this one. Lots of fun there, man. Lots of fun. Yeah, that's Corin's the booking guy, everyone. Give him the love. Totally deserves it. Totally deserves it. Hey, D Swagger, how are you? Thanks for coming on in. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the odd. 3 men had to be rescued by firefighters after they got stuck in a tumbler dryer in Essex in the United Kingdom. Essex County Fire and Rescue Service were called to a derelict laundry site in Bower Hill this past Friday. They found 3 young men, all believed to be in their late teens, stuck in the industrial-sized dryer. While 2 of them had successfully climbed in, the third had got his ankles trapped in the door. The fire service had to be called out. Helicopters came as well, and an ambulance service and their hazard area response team were all there to help free the young men. They used a range of heavy equipment and removed the dryer door so the third man could free himself. All 3 were given pain relief and left in the care of paramedics, and they're said to be doing okay. Watch manager Glenn Jackson said in a statement, "It was a difficult site to access, and we had to carry a lot of heavy equipment a large distance from the appliances to the tumble dryer, and then use our expertise to free the men safely. We used a range of equipment to free the casualty's ankles and allow him to crawl into the tumble dryer. The HEMS team gave them pain relief, probably a good knock in the face, saying, 'What the heck are you guys doing?' And then they managed to move to the door, again using a range of equipment so the men could crawl out." You know what? I got to say this. If I found out that my son, in his late teens, 18, 19, wasn't out, chasing chicks or boys, whatever, or doing something of value, but instead decided to go play in a washer or a dryer, we're going to have a talk. We're going to have a big talk. Because there is no participation ribbons for things like this, people. Nothing. You know what? This story actually freaks me out. Totally freaks me out. And how lucky are these people? A train driver in the Netherlands had a lucky escape thanks to a fortuitously placed art installation. Now, if you haven't seen this coming out of the Netherlands, near Rotterdam, this is amazing. The photos are incredible. A metro train crashed through a barrier at the end of the tracks shortly before midnight last night, but rather than plummeting the 32 feet into the water below, guess what happened? This is amazing. The train was left suspended dramatically in the air. How, you may ask? It ended up being delicately balanced on a large sculpture of a whale's tail at the metro station. We were trying to decide how to bring the train down in a careful and controlled manner, one official told the Dutch national media. The driver, who has not been named, was able to leave the empty train by himself. He was taken to hospital for a checkup and is not to have believed to have suffered any injuries. The sculpture, titled Whale's Tales, is the work of the architect and artist Martin Struis, and his art was erected in the water at the end of the tracks in 2002. Mr. Struis told the media that he was surprised the structure did not break. It's been there for almost 20 years, and actually you would expect the plastic to pulverize a bit, but that's apparently not the case. I'll make sure that I get a few photos, he added. I could never imagine it this way. I mean, this train is balancing on this statue of a whale's tail. Unbelievable. And thank goodness that the train was empty, because that would have been a bad day for a lot of people. A food stall owner in India has filed a police complaint against a blogger who helped him get business. Gaurav Wasan's viral video in early October showed Kanta Prasad crying over the lack of customers at his stall in Delhi because of the pandemic. The video moved people, including celebrities, and they responded to Mr. Wasan's call for donations. Mr. Prasad has now accused the blogger of misappropriating funds collected in his name. Mr. Wasan has denied the allegations. The latest event has soured what was a classical social media story that made Mr. Prasad and his wife Badami Devi famous overnight. Many people donated money and also flocked to Mr. Prasad's Baba Kadabi to eat. Looking at the photos, this guy's food looks amazing, by the way. Absolutely amazing. Anyways, many people donated money. People also wanted to praise Mr. Wasan for highlighting the story and crediting him for bringing a smile on the elderly couple's faces. But the story seems to have come undone because police officials have confirmed that they have received a complaint and have started an investigation. However, no charges have yet been filed. Mr. Prasad has accused Mr. Wasan of deliberately sharing his account details and collecting a huge amount as a donation. The stall owner said that it's literally around $2,688, which equates to about 200,000 rupees in India. But Mr. Prasad has allegedly stated that the donated sum was much higher. However, Mr. Wasan has said that he transferred all the money he received to Mr. Prasad. He admitted that the allegations were baseless and people were just trying to defame him and create negativity around the name. When I shot the video of Baba Kadabi, and I did not imagine that it would get the kind of reception it did. I asked people to transfer money to my account for just one day. In the video that was uploaded to his YouTube channel, Mr. Wasad said that the donations started pouring in around October 7th to his account. On October 8th, Mr. Prasad and Mr. Wasad shot a video together asking people not to donate money anymore as enough had been deposited already. I was trying to protect the guy. I told him we will raise some money for you. He did not ask me to mention his bank account. If he would have asked me to use his bank details, I would have. Oh, this is a he said, she said battle. Yeah, street food is hugely popular in India, but the pandemic has hit vendors very hard, forcing many to shut up shop. But the pandemic affected their business as people stopped eating out, but all changed with Mr. Wasan's video. So we'll see where this one goes. Scientists in Thailand have developed a coating for socks that kills bacteria and cures smelly feet. The coating, made from zinc oxide nanoparticles, can prevent bromodosis, better known as foot odor, and pitted keratosis, a bacterial infection. Well, this is getting into some of those gross YouTube channels now. Antibacterial properties of ZNO-NPS, which are harmless to humans, or otherwise known as zinc oxide nanoparticles, making the coating suitable to be incorporated into textiles, including socks, scientists say. The coated socks were successfully trialed on cadets by researchers in a hospital in Thailand. Pitted keratosis, yeah, that's it, is a common skin disease caused by various germ-positive bacteria. Yes, lots of big words in there I'm not going to say. These bacteria eat the keratin on the skin of the soles of the feet, creating small tunnels, giving a pitted appearance and unpleasantly cheesy foot malodor. It is commonly found in young adult males, especially in soldiers, miners, and athletes. The researchers were following up from a 2018 study, including the prevalence of fungal foot infection in Thai naval cadets. While completing an internship as a naval officer in the medical department, I saw a high number of foot infections in military personnel, said one doctor. I wanted to find a way to prevent and treat these fungal and bacterial infections in those conditions. Well, here come the socks. Here come the socks. Cadets were assigned to a 14-day field training course where they were then randomly assigned the coated socks and uncoated socks. And who wore the socks? Yeah, they found out that some got good foot fungus, others did not. And I'm sure we'll see this in North America pretty darn soon. I'm sure Nike will jump on it somewhere. Let's head over to Vancouver Island here in British Columbia, where a man is now facing charges after choosing a poor time and place to let his creative impulses flow. Nanaimo RCMP, that's where I started my radio career, in Nanaimo and Parksville. Well, Nanaimo RCMP say an officer was called to a Tim Hortons. Terrible. Ruining a Tim Hortons. A cop at a donut shop. Imagine that. This happened on Sunday when staff reported someone had just spray painted their shop floor. The suspect was gone by the time police arrived, but as the officers was taking photos of the damaged floor, a bystander noticed someone was now spray painting the RCMP cruiser parked outside. Constable Gary O'Brien, he's a one-ard Gary, not a two-ard, said the person was meticulously painting the windshield before delivering a final blast of paint on the side of the cruiser as the officer ran up. The officer goes outside and there's a guy going to town on the hood of his car, O'Brien said. So he gets arrested, and to make matters even worse for him, after the officer picked up his personal belongings, he found a small quantity of crystal meth inside. So this guy must have been transplanted from Florida or something. So he cooled his jets inside our cells for a while. The 24-year-old suspect was promptly arrested and is awaiting a court date in February on 2 counts of mischief. O'Brien says the officer was able to remove the spray paint using graffiti wipes. Isn't that cool? Isn't that nice? Here's something weird. Speaking of Florida man, this is actually a good Florida man move. Florida man who requires special contact lenses to see invented a robot to help people with dexterity issues insert and remove their lenses. Craig Hershoff, who uses special contacts known as scleral lenses, says he invented this voice-activated robot to help elderly patients and others with dexterity issues insert and remove their contact lenses without another person's assistance. This is cool. We've tried the device on elderly people. I'm elderly too, and it really helps with dexterity. They've all liked it and appreciate how well it works. The robot uses suction cups designed to create the ideal amount of suction to insert and remove the lenses easily. Hershoff's invention, the Clara lens robot, is currently undergoing clinical trials in Boston. He said he might have the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approval to market the device as early as next year if the trials prove successful. Good for him. That's awesome. Continuing on, a New York State father took what has become a family tradition to a whole new level when he built a 50-foot-long pirate ship in his front yard for Halloween. Tony DiMatteo said one of his 3 children initially requested a Pirates of the Caribbean-themed Halloween a few years ago, leading him to build a small pirate ship in front of the house in Churchville, just outside of Rochester. DiMatteo said he's been building ships every year for Halloween, and this year's is the biggest yet at 50 feet long, 20 feet tall. I'm a big fan of Halloween, DiMatteo says. It's been growing bigger and bigger each year. I always try to outdo myself. DiMatteo said this year's ship cost about $3,000 to build and took about a week to assemble. It features a skeleton hanging from the bowsprit, 6 light-up cannons, a fog machine, and fire blasters. I have no background in this. I just do it for fun for my kids. Making the rest of us dads look bad there, Mr. DiMatteo. It's been a rough year for a lot of people, so we decided this would be a perfect opportunity to put a smile on people's faces and give them a sense of normalcy. DiMatteo said he does not charge anyone to tour the ship, but visitors are asked to bring canned goods, an open-door mission, a Rochester food pantry. We got so many donations that my garage was completely full, and they're still coming to this day. That's fantastic. Fantastic. A Slovakian company shared a video of its maiden flight of its flying car, which the firm says it's hoping to bring to the market at some point in 2021. Flying Vision shared a video showing off the capabilities of the air car, which transforms from road vehicle into an aircraft in about 3 minutes. The vehicle features retractable wings, folding tail surfaces, and a parachute deployment system. The test flight took place at the Piastany Airport in Slovakia in late October. You know what else happened at Piastany back in 1988-89 at the World Juniors? A great, fantastic brawl between Team Canada and Team Russia. So anytime I see Piastany, I'm going to bring that up. The company said the air car can reach a maximum altitude of 1,500 feet, has a flight range of 620 miles. Flying Vision says it's hoping to have the proper legal approvals to sell the air car commercially come 2021. How fun would that be? Honestly, I want one of these. They're kind of ugly, but it's very cool at the same time. I want one. Totally. Oh, they're looking at building an amphibious model as well. Nope, not taking that one. Not taking that one. That could lead to sharks. Finally, on a scale of 1 to 10 on the ew factor, this one's about a 20. A historian who robbed the graves of 29 young girls and lived with the mummified corpses has refused to apologize to the parents. It comes as this gentleman appeals to be released from a psychiatric hospital so he could go and live with his new girlfriend, Anatoly Moskvin, from Novgorod, Russia. Turned the death children into dolls, dressing them in stockings, clothes, knee-high length boots. He applied lipstick and makeup to their faces. Oh, this is one sicko. Absolutely sick. Oh, there's the photo. Ugh. Anyways, the highly educated body snatcher and expert on cemeteries marked the birthday of each of his dead victims in his bedroom. His parents, who lived in the same flat in the Russian city, claimed to know nothing of his macabre activities. The grave robber has refused to apologize to the victim's parents as he attended a custody hearing amid his efforts to be released from psychiatric hospital to care for his elderly mother and live with a new girlfriend. These girls are girls, he said. There are no parents in my view. I don't know any of them. Besides, they buried their daughters, and this is where I believe their rights over them are finished. Finished? He goes, so, no, I wouldn't apologize. Moskvin also said he wanted to become a teacher of English to children after an initiative by Vladimir Putin to boost foreign languages in schools. Somehow, my friend, I really don't think you're going to get the time to become a school teacher. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Hi, Miller. How you doing, buddy? Anyways, today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Tell me in detail, what is something you want to do once COVID is over? Jenna, I can't wait to safely get to rock out at concerts again. I was in New Orleans for Halloween shows last year, but 0 shows this year. It's been tough. Steven, take a 3-week vacation at the first hotel on the moon. Kim, go dance to live music with friends. Carl, different Carl, carry on living with COVID-20 and COVID-21. Boy, oh boy, Mike wants to go to the beach. Joseph wants to go to EnemyCon again. Jules wants to party in Vegas with Dave. So does Dirty Filth. Another Carl. Holy cow, we're filled with Carls here today. Lick doorknobs again. That's funny. The Razzmatazz Neighborhood Mask Bonfire. Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's move on. Davey. I'm still waiting to hug my mom. She eventually got back to the UK from France, but I still can't hug her. Oh, that's terrible, Davey. I'm sorry. Alex, street luge, free diving, kiteboard, and more body surfing, and go back to the theater to see 3 movies a week. Matthew, cross the border and take my motorcycle on a road trip to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and take a selfie with the Mothman statue. Tim, go out to Roadhouse and get a great steak without fear of others around me and infecting me. David, oh man, I would love to go to an outdoor music festival, one that would rival Woodstock. Tom, to once again be able to yell at people while shopping without wearing a mask. Just not quite the same when your voice is getting muffled due to the mask. Melinda wants to go to lots of UFO conferences. Jason wants to see Dead and Company live. Jamie wants to hang out with his Nan. I don't mind that at all. That is totally worth it. Totally worth it. Kelly, find where all the normal people have been hiding. Nick, I just want my pals to come over and roll the dice with me. Also, SOR party in Vegas, and I will be wandering around drawing drunk as an Irishman drawing cartoons of everything, eating shrimp cocktails. Jamie never wants to hear about it again. Jaretta, I want to hug every person I see. Nate, he wants the SOR party in Vegas to go on. David wants to get back to jiu-jitsu practice and to eat without masks. Ron, I don't expect to live that long. Chris, simple. Metal concerts with many good bands. I love that one. Gail, when 19 is over, I will do exactly what I'm doing now. Nothing that involves people. Thank you, Captain. Joyce, meet up at a para event with my para family. Soul, isn't there a new one down the queue? Science Bob, visit paranormal hotspots with friends, travel to Canada, eat out for a month, and drink in a bar. Mike, I want to cough in public. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, gets the final word. I want 2 chicks at once. My goodness, guru. My goodness. I probably shouldn't have read that one, but I did because it was funny. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, Space Travelers Club on our website, and all the Snarkers and Snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. All of you made tonight very, very special, so thank you so much. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night, Mr. Bumblefoot. We need a favor. We need you to take us home. Train has docked for the night, but tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. That's a good show, everyone. Very good show. Good job, people. Good job. Yeah, I want to take this off, too. Very good show. Very, very nice show. Those there. Great guest, too. Torrance the booking guy, hitting it out of the friggin' ballpark again. Fantastic, Torrance. Seriously. Really good stuff. Oh, where did that go? No, I erased everything. God damn it. Dang, burn it. I gotta open up all my tube stuff again. Cripolas. That just, son of a motherless goat. Oh, man. Anyways. Go to my channel. Her channel. Hold on. These are errors that we don't have time for. Son of a wife there. My goodness. Anyways. I gotta go to Spreaker. Open that up again. Download that. Play. Dropbox. Alright. This one. See? Alright. I'm ready. I'm just gonna go take a quick break. I'll be right back here. 84 of you hanging on out. So we'll be right back. Take 2 seconds. Figure out which button I'm hitting. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Chris, I'll do it for you when I get back. That way you didn't forget it. All right, peoples. Get this show downloaded, shall we? My hair is falling out. Well, not falling out. The gel is wearing. Right there. Amplify that. Perfect. And bang. We're ready. Where am I? I feel so lost today. Totally feel. All right, let's get this thing. I'm so excited about the chiropractor tomorrow. By the way, America, get out there and vote. Whoever you choose to vote for, do it civilly. Remember, the rest of the world is watching, and we're all literally hoping that there's a dumpster fire. Right? Beautiful part about this November is there's 2 Black Fridays. One just happens on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and one is on a Friday. Let's be civil, courteous, and all try and get along, because that's what's going to make for a lot more fun. But I have to admit, I am ready to watch some brawls, man. I am so ready to watch some brawls tomorrow. All right. Oh, that ought to be it right there. Yep, just as I thought. About there, that's about 20 some minutes there, yep. Well, I mean, Kimberly, you could say that, but you could also say that the other side is kind of dangerous as well. So, you know what? No matter what, we don't wish Justin Trudeau on anybody. That's all I'm saying. You don't wish Justin Trudeau on anybody. Am I going to cover it tomorrow? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are going to stay free and clear, give everybody a time to chill and relax and take their minds off of everything. All I'm saying, America, is this. You do what you got to do. Just make sure it looks good on television. Make sure your hair is done, your makeup is on, and just remember that you don't want any part of Trudeau, man. You don't want any part of Trudeau. Corey's mustache is fired up, people. Fired up. Here I am inciting it, and Corey's like, shut the fuck up, Dave. Corin's the booking guy. He's like, shut up, Dave. And I'm like, Corin's the booking guy. Oh. Oh, God. Oh. It is true, though, what Kimberly says, that everything you guys do down there, we feel it firsthand up here. Let's get out of that one. Go here. There's number 5. Hey, Miller. How you doing, man? I didn't think you watched the show. I thought you said my show sucked. But I'm glad you're here, man. Thank you for coming on in. By the way, Miller, you do have a very cool Star Wars collection, man. It's pretty awesome. Hey, gorgeous Larry, how you doing, man? No, there will be no election coverage tomorrow night on the show, just so you all know. This is an absolute political free zone, and we're going to be pretty tight on that tomorrow night, just so you know. We're going to be very tight on it. So whatever happens tomorrow in the U.S. election, just God bless. Please be safe. Please act like human beings, you know. And if you see me stirring up the shit on Twitter or Facebook tomorrow, just remember I'm just doing it out of pure entertainment and sarcasm. So, got those. Hi, Kristen Alberg. You're looking gorgeous tonight. The border currents will be closed until the COVID situation is figured out and in full containment and control south of the border. What does that mean? Your COVID thing is kind of out of control down there, and we don't want it coming up here, even though our cases are kind of blowing up. And so there's no point in spreading it back and forth. Got to knock it off somehow. So once the borders open up, man, we're going to plan a party. So they look into it every few weeks to see if things are improving. And if they are improving, they'll reopen up the borders. If they're not improving, then they'll keep them shut down. It's the way it is. Hey, guys, almost time to get that verification code ready. Your 6-digit verification code will be coming up here in about 1 minute. All right, there we go. We're almost there, people. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited about tonight's verification code. All right, here we go. Your verification code for tonight is 284429. 284429. Verify wisely, everyone, because we don't want you to go unverified and then get in trouble because you're not verified. Don't want that. More than 75, Raul. Have to check. Let's see here. Let's see if my buddy Ron usually has it up. All right. So in British Columbia since last Friday, there is a total of 15,501 cases in the province. Fraser Health has 9,049, which isn't surprising because it's quite elderly there. Vancouver Coastal Health, 4,898. Interior Health, 777. Northern Health, 422. Island Health, 265. Confirmed deaths, we are at 269. And population-wise, pretty heavy, the amount of population we have. To be blunt. I don't know how many are in hospital right now. I know locally in my town, I think there's 3 or 5 or something. Number's not high. Not high at all. All right, we are downloading everything. Oh, that. Hey, Mark Ellens. I was in mission from 2000 to 2015. And I hated every minute I was there, man. Hated every minute I was there. Now I live in heaven. Where I am, man. It's time to get the beard done again. Oh. All of a sudden I got hit with the tire pills, man. Oh. Those are filthy. See it on them. I can't. Oh. Oh. Sorry for yawning. I think my eyes are sweating. I'll be right back. Gotta get a towel. Sorry, I just had to wash my face. So tomorrow night on the show, we have Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. We're going to have some fun. I did not use my Mighty Moose beard oil tonight. So we'll have some fun. And we'll talk to Geraldine and all sorts of stuff. America, much love to you. Remember, the rest of the world does love you. You guys are just a bunch of weirdos, though. And we're okay with that. But you guys stay safe down there. Be smart. And, you know what? Have some fun. So enjoy your day, America, because this is what freedom is all about. And fight for what's right, man. But we're gonna call it the night here because I got to get to bed and get up with my boy in the morning, get him ready for school. Much love to all of you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night with Geraldine. Thank you so much. And thank you to beautiful Jenny and Carl for the super chats tonight. I really do appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Good night.